presented itself to Fishers, and I think it meets several needs in our community. It was recently done a survey of our residents about our park system, and one of the extraordinary things that we found out was over 80% of our residents said they'd be willing to pay additional taxes in order to have access to indoor recreational space. And lo and behold, timing was good because we were also working on a large private development in Fishers that we've been in discussions for probably the better part of a year or two, and just recently came to an economic structure that we think is really interesting for the community to contemplate. So today, I'm excited to announce this proposed $75 million investment in our community at Exit 10. It is an indoor recreational facility. It has 250,000 square feet of indoor recreational space, which, to give you some scale or magnitude, that could host up to 32 basketball courts, turf sports, and then attached to that is a 4,200 seat arena. That vision in itself is exciting, but what we find most interesting today really is the economic structure or the partnership that the city would have with this particular private developer. And I just want to walk through a couple of those things. I have Tom Dickey, my community development director, here as well, who is integral in working through this economic structure. It is a completely privately owned facility. It's a taxable facility, so the field house and the arena will both be paying property taxes. Along with that, we are not issuing any kind of debt. We're not responsible for the operations of the facility, the maintenance of the facility, or paying for the capital investment of the facility. What we are looking at doing is a 10-year, 50% tax abatement on the arena. The field house will start paying taxes immediately. We are contemplating eliminating the impact fees that you would normally see associated with the development. And then we are looking to pay $800,000 a year in an annual lease. And for that, the city will receive access to 12 basketball courts from 3 to 9 p.m. every day during the week, and then additional hours in the summer during the day. Along with that, there'll be a walking and jogging track for all of our residents to use. It will be free to the residents, as long as our residents and Fishers are more than welcome to come use the facility. Now, where does that $800,000 come from, which is another exciting opportunity for us? The $800,000, $400,000 of which, once taxes are fully assessed on the building, will come directly from the taxes generated from that development. So of the $800,000 that we would be paying for a lease, over time, $400,000 of that will come from property taxes. We've also worked out an arrangement with the developer to charge an admissions fee, an additional admissions fee on ticketed events. So when we have out-of-town tournaments, which we plan on having several, there will be revenue coming in from that. Early estimates there are somewhere between $100,000 to $200,000 of revenue. So again, now we look at that and we're going from $800,000 to $500,000 generated just from the facility alone. That leaves roughly $200,000 to $300,000 on an annual basis that we would be paying out of what we anticipate our park impact fee fund. So another good portion of this, or an exciting element to us, is that from a property tax standpoint, we're not going to see a burden on our residents. We're not going to be asking for additional taxes or revenue from our residents, and we're going to be able to provide, I think, a world-class indoor recreational facility to our residents. So we're very excited about this prospect. One of the things that we want to make sure that we do over the next 30 days is there will be several public meetings. I will formally introduce this project on April 20th at the City Council meeting. But then going forward, we're going to have several listening sessions so that residents can come out and share their ideas, their concerns, their thoughts with the City Council and with myself. We want this to be a very open and collaborative process. There is no defined outcome here. We just think this is a really interesting and exciting opportunity for our community, and we look forward to having that discussion with our residents. That being said, I'd be happy to entertain any questions that you may have, and Tom as well can answer questions.
I know you said it is privately owned, but what do you want to get across the taxpayers? They see that big price tag. What do you want them to? Yeah,
that's a really great question. So to re-emphasize, we are not in any way issuing any debt or have any ownership in this facility. This is a 100% privately funded, financed project. It's taxable. It is a private entity. What we are doing is we have a need for indoor recreational space in our community. We have 11,000 kids in our youth athletics programs alone. We have no parks or community facility. So we are literally entering into a lease with these folks for a set number of hours at a market rate, or actually slightly below a market rate for the facility. If at any point, let's say that they're not able to perform or the doors are locked, we stop paying the lease payment. And the taxpayers aren't out anything. If for some reason we sign this agreement and they're not able to build the building, financing falls apart, our residents are on no way on the hook for anything. There's no taxes being spent. So I think that is the message that we really want to get across to our residents, because too often you see a lot of these deal structures that are more, the public is far more participatory in the project, and here this truly is a private development.
I read somewhere where you could try to attract some minor league team to come there. Is this a hockey team? Is this a basketball team? What will it be?
Yeah, and I think the developer would be best suited to answer that question, but for the arena, it is a hockey arena. I do believe that they are interested in a USHL amateur sports team and others. I think along with those amateur sports, there's also just the youth sports component of this, and I think you'll see when they bring in such large tournaments, if you can envision, 5,000 people coming in for a cheer competition, they may use that arena for entertainment in the evenings for the folks that are visiting. So I think they view that this facility, having the arena and the field house attached together, really provides a unique synergy and a niche market for them in general.
You've been emphasis on new sports. What, if anything, do you take from looking at Grand Park and Model A setup? Is that inspiration at all?
Mayor Cook's done a wonderful job in Westfield with his vision for the youth sports capital of the Midwest. That is not our ultimate vision for Fishers. This was a privately led development that came to us and said, we want to be here, this is where we'd like to locate. And we had a need from a community perspective, so I think it's a unique opportunity. But we're certainly not in any way trying to encroach upon that vision for Westfield. I think it's wonderful, and I think actually Mayor Cook and I have been in conversations. We think we've got a lot of synergies to work together to bring in even greater tournaments and shine a spotlight on Hamilton County further.
So there will be a 10-year tax abatement. Talk about that. Sometimes these abatement deals get a little muddy. Explain to your citizens so they know exactly.
Sure. So this goes back to the fact that this is a privately owned development, which is almost unusual in itself, that an arena is actually a private entity. So they're paying the property tax just like you pay property taxes on your home. One of the discussions that we had with them is as you build an arena and as you get it up and running, at times it can take a while to really get that revenue generated and get your schedules lined up and have people booked. And so we negotiated a 10-year 50% tax abatement. So basically on any new taxes that would come because of the arena, just the arena component of it, they would only pay 50% of that for 10 years. After 10 years, they pay 100% of the value or the taxes presented to them on an annual basis. The field house will start paying taxes day one, and they will pay 100% of their taxes day one from the start.
How would you envision the local sports leagues using that? Talk a little bit about what use they'll get out of this facility.
Yep. Yeah, so early on we engaged with HSE Sports, and particularly Linda Carlino, and really had a discussion about how they would use that. So we have, again, the spaces, as the mayor described, is essentially 1/3 of the field house is 12 courts, and we're really entering into an agreement or a partnership with HSE Sports. We usually envision them programming that about 90 to 95% of the time. So they'll be running the leagues in the evening, and it's all recreational leagues. So they'll be controlling those 12 courts and really using that for the community. And then with respect to how the community uses the walking track, we've still yet to iron out some details, but we're looking at perhaps our Parks Department being involved in that. So when you're a Fishers resident, whether you would show up some kind of a fob or you show some kind of identification when you get to the field house, you check in and then you have access to that walking track. And then in addition to that, the community's use of the arena, we've negotiated that 3 times a year we can use the arena for community events, and that may be a big, wide, some community event we haven't envisioned yet, or it could be something like the HSE Fishers basketball game, and that can become the home for that. So there's really some pretty exciting ways the community will use that. And again, tying it back to what the mayor said, that's the value we're getting for that lease payment that we're making, and we really spent a lot of time trying to define that in the agreement.
Do you think you have the road structure to get people in and out of that facility for big events?
That's a great question, and we've already engaged our traffic engineers to look at that. We've got a meeting coming up with the county to look at Oleo Road. One thing that we learned early on from our traffic engineers who have worked on projects like Lucas Oil Stadium, no one is interested in investing in dollars to handle traffic just at night when everybody's leaving the venue. So you will not see the roads expand just to handle that one-time traffic. You handle that type of traffic, as most all experts in this area say, with a good police presence and good traffic control mechanisms. So that will be the focus. I do believe that on Oleo Road, we need to put some kind of traffic control at 134th Street, so that'll be a conversation we're having with the county.
What's the process of getting this done through the city council?
Sure. Well, like I said, we're really priding ourselves here on having a very open and collaborative process. So you're going to see at least 3 or 4 public meetings. So on April 20th at the city council meeting, I will formally introduce this project, and there's going to be several statutory requirements, either zoning variances, redevelopment commission, city council. All of those bodies will have to be involved in this. So April 20th, we formally introduce it, and then over the course of the next 30 days leading up to the next city council meeting, we're going to be out in the public. We'll actually have a public hearing meeting at Saxony in the neighborhood to talk to residents. We'll be sending out letters to all the residents that live around that area to share with them the details of the project. All of the information should be up on our website as of this morning in terms of financial projections. It's an open book to our community so we can have a very informed dialogue going forward. And then by May 20th, we hope to have the City Council formally consider this, and what would basically be an adoption of amendments to a current TIF agreement, a rezone, and then a lease agreement with the Redevelopment Commission.
And you stress being open with people that everything, making everything available. What roadblocks or pushback do you anticipate?
I think in general, there's been a lot of conversations about these types of facilities in the past. People want to know, are we on the hook? What does this mean to me as a taxpayer? So we want to be able to answer that intelligently and with data. Secondly, I think certainly there's going to be some conversation about what does this mean in competition with Westfield? What does it mean in competition with the other private sector? Again, from our perspective on that particular issue, this is a private entity. So I don't view this as the city necessarily creating something that's going to compete with another private entity. This is a private entity that's going to compete with other private entities. So that, and then really that's kind of the point of the public process, is to hear what maybe I can't anticipate might be a concern, and so hopefully we can air those and really address them.
Construction start, construction completion, and has this developer ever done this before? And if so, what?
Yeah, so I'll answer that in reverse order. GK Development has assembled a team of people that have various skill sets, from the contractor who would actually build it, who's built these types of facilities before, the Game 7 who is going to run the arena. That individual has run an arena before and run an amateur sports group before. So I think they have assembled a pretty solid team.
But have they done this before?
The individuals who own the facility, no, they have not done a specific project like this before.
And the construction start?
Oh, sorry, yes. That would happen as early as midsummer.
To begin?
Yes.
And how long will it take to build?
Tom, do you?
Yeah, it's about a 9-month construction schedule for the field house, and then the arena is about probably a 15-month schedule. So they're starting midsummer and be open as early as in late spring next year. It being the field house being open late spring of 16, and then the arena following on probably late summer of 16. Oh, yes.
Hi, right off the bat, you said that this was at least in part in response to the community survey that you sent out. I remember that, but I don't know if you responded to that. Could you talk a little bit more about that? Because it sounds like the major rationale here is to serve the people, residents of Fishers already, because we're needing this kind of thing. Could you talk about that a little bit?
So I would say the major impetus for the project is a $75 million private investment that could be a catalyst for additional growth. What I think is unique is that we've got, according to our residents, we've got a need for indoor space. So if by structuring a lease like we have, we can bring in that economic development project that can be a catalyst, and at the same time meet a community need, we thought that that's really a unique opportunity to have that conversation.
As far as any of the businesses that you may anticipate as a result of these, I saw there's already a hotel as part of this complex. Do you anticipate other businesses or perhaps hotels or restaurants kind of coming to this area? It seems like that whole area is kind of custom built for more development.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the hotel that's on there, to be clear, is a master plan, so we can't tell you that there's a definitive, this is a hotel that's coming, so to be clear about that. But we do believe that this is a project that's transformative and a catalyst for additional development. So we do see the need for additional hotels, restaurants, and really it helps identify that entire area. I think you'll see a medical office partner in this. I think there's just a lot of opportunity to see a halo effect of development all around it, and I think that's one of the things that makes it so attractive. Well, with that, I want to thank you all for coming out. We really encourage everyone to visit our website and follow us on social media regarding this issue. We're going to be open and collaborative, and we look forward to the process, so thank you very much.